Hi guys, David here with Fresh Baked with some construction updates for you from around the park, although it's a bit of a slow week this week. Except for this. We're leading off with this. That's a photo posted yesterday by Mice Chat, and it looks like it's backstage, probably from the monorail, and if you haven't spotted it yet, that's an animatronic snake. Precisely the kind of snake found on Indiana Jones Adventure. The snake that hasn't worked right in years. Years, right? Has it been years? And this has to be a new snake. Snake 2.0. Actually, Fluffy 2.0. I just learned that's his nickname. It has to be new because they haven't closed Indy yet. So there still has to be a snake on the ride, albeit, a petrified one. But there's still a snake in there. So this is a new snake. Ladies and gentlemen, they're fixing the snake on Indiana Jones Adventure. This is as close to official as we're going to get, I think. That body looks very, very new, very modern, state of the art, hopefully. Good for a couple of years at least, right? For some reason I thought that the business at the bottom would be more, complex, but I guess they're getting better at these kinds of things today. Actually, now that I think of it, you don't often see an animatronic exposed like this, so I can't say that I know what it's supposed to look like to begin with. But this is exciting. Hopefully next time I'm on the monorail, we can spot a giant boulder looking fresh and new backstage behind Indiana Jones. For now, let's take this monorail to downtown Disney. And we've got actual action, constructionizing happening. Trucks, excavators, digging machines. And they've dug a few holes. I'm maybe getting ready for foundations. There's one in the lower left corner of this frame. There's another rectangular-shaped hole in the center right of frame. And then another one behind that one. Now, like I said, possibly for foundations, but I would have expected them to be bigger, actually. So, maybe they're for an entirely different purpose. In either case, this is good news, as it means we finally left the plain dirt phase, which is always the most boring and takes forever. We just sit there and look at dirt for months, it seems like. And we've now begun the we're going to start building stuff phase, which is good show every time. So stay tuned to Fresh Baked, as you know we're going to cover every iframe and every form that they put up. I can't wait. For now, we'll head over to the Disneyland Hotel, see what's new there. Not much so far, still covered mostly in scrim and scaffolding. You can see a whole mess of windows have been installed on the right side of the building. And as we look closer to the left side, it looks like they haven't yet installed their windows, but there are crew in there. I think he's painting. That looks like a painting kind of action that he's doing there, or maybe he's applying a layer of something to the ceiling. Here's some crew on the roof busy at work as well. They're also applying some kind of layer, though I couldn't say what. Meanwhile, over at the soon-to-be Pixar Place Hotel, more white paint on the back side of the building. Here's that colorful pinstriping again, moving along. And here we can see they've made some real progress applying the new color scheme to the far right sections of windows, and they're sort of making their way to the left side of the building. I like how this is looking so far. Here's a great look, a before and after. Actually, now that I look at it again, they're not done putting the light blue color on that, the pillar that runs between the windows. But there you go. Before on the left and after on the right. I think I like it. Here's a quick over-the-wall shot. They were busy with the jackhammer back there. That's the entrance to the hotel. Not as much progress on the far left side of the building, but we can see that they appear to have completed the center portion that that doesn't face the street. And again, that looks all right. That looks all right. I know we're not there yet, but look, it's the Paradise Pier Hotel was a very low bar. To make that look better won't take much, and that's inside and out. So I guess it's going to be easy to get excited about this. By the way, while I was there, I checked on the inside. Everything's the same. But I found this lovely little addition to the otherwise lackluster guest entry. Very nice touch by Disney here. It's the least they could do. And I didn't hear a single jackhammer. Let's go back to downtown Disney, where we'll find that Ralph Brennan's Jazz Kitchen has entered a new phase. The lower section is now closed to guests. Seating is available now only upstairs. Here's some exciting update for you. Do you see that? Those are the new chairs. It's our first sign of the color scheme, the new color scheme for the Jazz Kitchen. I've been waiting for this. We've seen the orange in the concept art, and there's some orange chairs. Here's a look inside the atrium, where it appears the fountain area is now behind construction walls as well. Is the rumor true then? Is the fountain being removed, and are they going to put in happy hour bar, piano bar? Is that going to happen? Here's a look at the updated glass railing. The wrought iron is gone. And like Paradise Pier Hotel, so far I don't hate it, but there's still lots more time for us to be disappointed. We do have that concept art to encourage that kind of feeling. So let's go to Disneyland and the Adventureland Treehouse, as inspired by Walt Disney's Swiss Family Robinson. They're not calling it the Swiss Family Treehouse. We got asked that a lot. Why do they bother not calling it the Swiss Family Treehouse? I'm speculating, but I think they did that because they didn't want to be tethered down, burdened by the original Swiss Family story. They didn't want to follow the story, the canon, as it were. For example, they can't have a daughter because the Robinsons didn't have a daughter. They had 3 boys. So if they want to be more inclusive, then they have to change the backstory. So whatever, it's fine. I don't care, Swiss Family not. I just want a treehouse. You know what I mean? And it looks great. The concept art looks fun. I'm fine with it. Anyway, nothing to see from the ground. Scrim is back up. As expected, though, we can still see the top right corner of the treehouse where the sun's room will wind up being. No new developments that I can see since we were here last, but stay tuned for more on this, as I think this will be developing soon. Let's go next door to the Haunted Mansion, where it's been confirmed that the holiday overlay will be extended 3 weeks beyond its typical closing date. Haunted Mansion Holiday will now close on January 30th for its week-long refurb to restore it back to the Haunted Mansion. I first started getting asked about this when it was found that Small World was closing earlier than it usually does on January 9th. Typically, lately, historically, they closed Haunted Mansion first, Small World stayed open, and then they closed Small World. Disney rarely does both overlays at the same time. In fact, I can never remember that. Normally, it's, like I said, Haunted Mansion first, down for a week, while Small World stays open a week longer than the end of the holiday season, typically around January 9th. So Small World will close, I don't know, like the 16th or something like that. The reason for this is likely to reduce the impact on park capacity, as there are additional rides going down around the 9th. And they don't want to add Haunted Mansion to that list. On January 9th, in addition to Small World, Indiana Jones closes, as does Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln, and I guess I should include Grizzly River Run is closing on the 9th as well over at DCA. I wonder, though, which attraction has more capacity? Like, which attraction carries more guests per hour? Because I know Small World can carry a ton of guests. It could cycle a whole bunch of guests, even not as the holiday version. So, I don't know. I think they probably did, or they left Haunted Mansion open longer because it's on the same side of the park as Indiana Jones. That makes a lot of sense. Anyway, there you go. By the 30th, Small World will have reopened, as will Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway to offset some of that, lost capacity. And it's just for a week. The park is going to be a bit of a mess this winter, though, guys. It's unfortunate, but 100% necessary. And I know Disney's going to do the best they can. It's a difficult thing to balance, ride maintenance and giving guests a good show. Nobody wants a bunch of rides closed when they visit Disneyland, but they also can't stay open forever. They need this maintenance. And part of the reason why, we're having so many downtimes, the attractions shut down so often these days, is because they weren't getting the attention that they needed. So this is a good thing. If it makes you feel any better, they've added some tables to the unused collection area out in front of the Tomorrowland Theater, or whatever it is these days. Nothing. Meanwhile, over in DCA, they've added some actual comfy chairs over by the Hollywood Lounge. And if you can hear excitement in my voice, it's because it's kind of shocking. Previously, this space was empty, but there was a time when there were things things that you could sit on. I dare to call them chairs or seating areas because they were far from comfy or relaxing. I don't think anybody ever sat there. I sat there once and it was like being in Minnie's house. Anyway, I sit here. See, they're actually kind of squishy, so this is a real step up for Disney, and I'm here for it. More, please. Thank you so much for comfy places to sit, even though it's, not the least or most sexy area of the park, but it's a step up. While we're here, not sure if we mentioned this before, but they repainted the facades at Mike and Sully to the rescue. The ride reopened the day after Halloween, so it's been a few weeks, but this was the first time I actually really noticed it. Jury's out on whether or not it's an improvement. I detest the fake facade concept to begin with. It is my least favorite thing at any park anywhere ever. So I don't think it really matters what they do to it from my perspective. I won't like it. So you can repaint it all you want. It's still going to be that crappy fake facade. But what do you think, Fresh Baked? Hey. As for the actual ride, I haven't had a chance to do a side-by-side yet to see if there's any differences. Hopefully I can get to that soon. Oh, and here's a quick ops update from the Toy Story parking lot. Previously, we reported that Disney had set aside the first 5 rows, the 5 closest to the buses. They were set aside for preferred parking. But then we later reported that if you showed up later in the day, like at 4 p.m., if those spots hadn't yet sold out, they would let regular paying guests park there. Well, this has now been moved up to around 1 p.m., which is when I arrived on this day. At that time, maybe half of the first row was sold, about 30 cars total is my guess. The other 4.5 rows were still empty. Now, at this point, they had set aside a second row just in case they wanted to sell more preferred parking. My fear, last time was that they would, if they opened everything up to general, were they still selling preferred, or did they stop selling it? Because that would be weird. Anyway, so they set aside 2 rows, and then the other 3 were made general parking. I'm not sure things are going as well as they'd hoped for preferred parking. I'm not sure how this compares. Maybe they had different expectations because maybe that does better at Mickey and Friends. But I got this footage about 4 hours later showing that they had sold just 3 more spots in those 4 hours. Meanwhile, what's up, with the Toy Story lot in general? It used to be that we would regularly park at Jessie and Woody. Seems like never now. I can barely remember the last time we parked over there. I remember one time parking at Buzz months ago, and maybe 1 or 2 times I parked at Jessie, and this is even late in the day. But they can barely fill the Woody lot these days, which is surprising because they keep trying to push guests that way. They had that change in policy for the Magic Keys, so you could get a 50% discount if you parked at Toy Story. Still not get. People are just love to park at Mickey and Friends, man. Which I recommend you do the opposite. I recommend parking at Toy Story. I do feel like this is a developing situation, so stay tuned. And then follow us on Instagram at _FreshBaked, on Twitter at FreshBakedDisney, that's fresh with no E, and on TikTok at FreshBakedDisney. And if you like our show and want to show your support, please do consider joining our Patreon campaign at patreon.com/freshbaked. Otherwise, thanks again for watching, everybody. We love you. Be safe out there. Be kind to one another. And Fresh Baked.